5:35
Oh, that's this.
on a sunny afternoon.
Yes.
Oh, that's a song.
Probably right.
March 14th. Scituate Council on Aging Board of Directors meeting. We'll do a quick round of introductions. I'm J.D. Miller, the chair. I'll go to my right to the lady in green. One of the ladies
One
in
of
green.
them. We're actually practically.
I know, everybody's decked out.
Linda Hayes Kelly of the Scituate Senior Center Director.
Jessica Suki, Activities Coordinator and Volunteer Coordinator.
Marie Fricker, board member.
Elaine Jabari, Force Liaison.
Dee Dwyer, board member.
Susan Pope, board member. Leslie James, board member. Pat Compton, board member. Laurie Brady, board member. Susan Drebich Kelly, vice chair.
Very good. Welcome, everyone. We're passing around some treats. Please help yourself. We had some meetings from last month. I hope everybody had, well, maybe you had a chance to take a look at it online. If not, please take a look at it now. These are submitted by Russ, and it was an excellent job, I think. But please take a quick look, and we will move forward on confirming our minutes.
I didn't really review them beforehand, so.
Oh, good.
Anybody have any edits, comments, adjustments to
I
February?
wasn't here, but they looked, I
meeting
feel like
minutes?
I was, they were excellent notes.
Yeah. Does anybody have any additions, changes? Can I have a motion to approve February 15th, 2024 meeting minutes?
A motion to approve the minutes of the February meeting.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Susan and Susan. Just I understand you sort of need to move, so we're gonna move towards you first.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm the second page, or after the minutes, after board report. Yeah, it's nice to be here. We had a great.
Speak up a little bit, please.
We had a great luncheon today for probably in the end over, like, including volunteers and everybody, it was probably 120 people.
Right.
So coming off of that, one thing I guess overall I noticed is, I know I've been giving you the sign-ins at the bottom of my chart here, but we've been consistently bringing in about 100 people on average more than last year.
Yeah.
And that's just been interesting to see in the numbers.
And
So I haven't.
Did anybody throw out any reasoning for that?
I think, well, it's, if you look at it from 3 years ago to next, or to May, it's COVID, right, came back, and then things were creeping up and up and up, and then now I think we're in a program swing, where we're starting.
I mean, we hope
Yeah.
we're getting more people all the time.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are.
We have the social day program going now, 2 times a week,
Yes,
so
it
that's
is,
an
right.
increase. We have, in terms of just people in the building,
Yeah.
we have,
Added exercise class.
yeah, I mean, lunches for the most part are steady, so it's not, now, the lunch program was the big thing.
Yeah.
And now that is steady, so now it's
It's a
more
baseline,
programming,
yeah.
yeah.
I think
And it
we're
could be
getting
word
word
of
out,
mouth.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
Because,
reputation.
I'll always
Yeah.
talk about them.
And that's what we're hearing a lot of positive, I mean. everybody-
Curiosity factor is still, absolutely, they come in. Oh, I heard from somebody, I thought this was great.
And Jill's very good at you know, saying, oh, I got this positive feedback today, I got this today, you know, so that's on the upswing too, just people, I feel like when we open, it's, people are happy, but then they're maybe looking for things that could be improved.
Sure.
And now it's more like overall positive is what I feel like
I
I'm
mean,
getting.
yeah, the numbers are.
Yeah, which is good, yeah. And for winter numbers too, when you think about it.
Yeah, that's
Right,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did notice that September and January tend to be when, you know, kind of like if you look at fitness clubs or places, like when people start the new school year, when they start a new goal year, that's when you see a lot of people want to start new initiatives, but, so that's, that'd be part of it too.
Okay.
So that's kind of an overview, but then if you just look at the numbers, I just tried to go through each category, and I always try to say what I think is impacting those numbers. So the tax is definitely having, in February, starting up AARP, you're gonna have more people walking in the door. Not all of them are registered with us, so they don't all have to sign in, but a lot of them are registered with us, so,
Are you on this page here?
yes,
Okay,
I'm
cool.
on
I just couldn't see it from the
activities.
three-hole punch. I mean, the other thing I was gonna say just for a moment is that even something like the AARP program, it is bringing in a tremendous number of people, and a lot of those people may never have walked through the door of this building had it not been for that, and so, you know, that could be another factor too, not just the fact that they're here, but that it's like, wow, and they're
Well-
coming back.
Well, I don't wanna, butt in, but I did, because we had 100 people register in February.
Mhm.
So I did decide to just take it out and put it in Excel and look at the reasons that they might have. So, I mean, tax was a good portion of the 100, but by no means barely the majority. Programs was the majority, lunch and programs was the majority of what the new registrants in February did. And that's,
Good.
and I don't have
That's great.
information, so some
That's better.
came in and registered, but don't yet have any activity.
Oh,
So
that's
it's hard
good.
to say, sometimes it could be transportation, which isn't as easy to find. Some is outreach, which is there, tax and programs, tax and outreach. So it was actually a nice mix. And I will also say, although I didn't figure out the stats exactly, there were as many out of town as there were Scituate people. Of course, taxes has brought more in because they're not restricted, but at the same time, some were programs and they certainly were coming in for that. So, just, sorry,
The same amount or more from out of town?
around about the same. Balanced.
Yeah, so under, and you can ask me any questions about it, but some of the highlights would be, new things, like Richardson Gaffey, we were having people come in on Thursdays for coffee and community when we bring in typically our business, relationships and people who wanna create relationships with us and the members. And we kind of reserve that for Thursdays. Someone like Richardson Gaffey and a couple other groups, they've been in the health fair, they do this, and now they upped it to, they wanna do like Friday lunch and learns, and that keeps that Friday spot because we don't have lunch with Fred on that Friday.
That's great.
So they'll do it up here or sometimes in the dining room, and some people do come for the lunch, but the legacy one was very, they changed the name of it and they call it legacy planning, and I think that helped a little bit, rather than just like estate plan or end-of-life planning, or, you know, transition.
So do they bring the lunch in?
They do. So as
Wow.
a business, so when all these groups come, they always either bring pastries in the morning, we supply coffee, or if it's a lunch, they bring the lunch. So there's always like some food component that they bring, and then they see it as just free kind of advertisement and everything.
Sure.
But I was talking to a man from the Marshfield Boosters, so it'd be like their FOSS, and he really liked that idea of just something that was regular, that I kind of see it as like an offshoot of the health fair in order to get people on a calendar with us. And then cultural, I mean, Art for Your Mind is still, we just had it yesterday, and it's always about 90 or over 90 people sign up or come in, but maybe we hover around like 85 or 90 people, there might be a few seats not taken. We found a very good speaker, Anthony Samarco, who has done Baker's Chocolate Company, and then he just Monday did Boston Irish
Wow.
from famine, you know, in Ireland all the way up to the Kennedy era. And that was fascinating. I got to sit in on that, so I learned a lot about half of my heritage.
That was instead of Jill doing it?
No, this is an addition.
Oh.
One thing that people have been wanting is more lifelong learning or presentations or learning. I mean, Bob is phenomenal and he's still maxing out,
Yeah.
but, you know, we have Mike Quinlan in Global Affairs. Now I feel like we have this kind of Boston resident person, and we can start to maybe, we talked about forming committees to actually make it more of courses or, you know, be able to offer, because that's there, people want that.
You could tell people really liked it, and he's only been 2 times.
And you know, it does bring in sometimes a different population, not
Yeah.
always, there's overlap, but it does bring in new people. And sometimes it is the topic or the speaker.
And yeah, and some people did say, can you get next to the Italian North End of Boston? So they want to, and he does, he has things about, you know, the old Filenes, he has topics about the Howard Johnsons, he's neat.
Dunkin' Donut.
Yeah, and he likes Scituate, because we had a Howard Johnson,
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
at PJ, or,
Yeah.
so that's a good find. Fitness and exercise, I mean, I don't like to just stay steady with them, because they bring a lot of energy and people, and Sue really helps in her classes, because they're so packed. She does a lot of cross-promoting for us, so if I wanted to say, hey, can you mention some other people's lectures or some other people's things that we maybe weren't getting higher enrollments for, she mentions it, and then people flock to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you?
So that's one way of Sue really helping. She's happy to do that. Justine in Zumba also has a big following, and she would like to expand to a Thursday now. There's a toning in the Zumba.
Which is would be a third time for her, but she does bring them in and they like it. And she says they
Does she
would come.
also teach Zumba in other communities? I heard she
She
did.
does.
She does, yeah.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
During the week?
Mhm.
Okay.
Health screenings, I mean, we added the foot care, which people are giving rave reviews about Donna Golden and her expertise. They also, I've noticed that the hearing screenings are always maxed out now. So where we used to get like 1 or 2, now we're getting a full plate from Michael. And he, I think last month he even did 12, and that he extended his day with us. We also have the guest lecturer, Dr. Parker.
A new hearing audiology specialist doctor. And he would do more clinics if we needed them or anything else, and it happened to mention just because he was looking for what else he could do for us. But maybe a support group for people with hearing loss, because they do, as Pat has discussed. There's a lot of need.
Yep.
And the grief groups, Susan can fill us in on that, but that's always a hot topic.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well,
I know, I already have
I
a
need-
waiting list for September.
yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
May I just make a point on that particular thing? This is the latest South Shore Senior News, and Susan wrote an article about her grief counseling, and I've seen many articles
Yeah.
about your grief counseling. Nothing like this. This was just so, I told my kids, and you know how I am, always thinking the best. I said, look, if anything happens to you, pull this out. Because it says that we're hardwired to get over grief, even with someone that you love so much.
Yeah.
You know, and I never read that before. I always felt like it was you could or might not, but this is, the human body is hardwired to get over the grief after a certain amount of time. So I told Tom, I said, you should make a big deal out of this one, because that's really important.
Yeah, so that, yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is, not to go off on that topic, but I actually got people responding to me from that article,
This one,
and
I'm telling you.
basically people that had just, that wanted to know more or learn more or
Yeah.
whatever. It's,
It's the best explanation of the best piece you've ever done.
oh, thank
Yeah.
you so much, I really appreciate
I
that.
even called Tom Foy about it.
Is that why he took me out to lunch?
Probably.
So then also, finding ways to enhance your life, that's Jean Fernandez. I call her like our resident TED Talk. She really does these, it's really not discussion group, it's really like an inspirational talk where she picks certain empowering conversations, like one was about your support system and how who has your back. And she gave a whole talk about that and really inspires people to kind of think in different ways about different things. It's 9 AM on Fridays once a month. And that's, Sue plugged that and we've gotten some good responses for that.
What is her background? I was just curious.
She worked out of she's from Kenya. She worked high up in Pfizer?
HR for Pfizer.
Yeah, HR for Pfizer, global. So, and she worked out of New York when she came from Kenya to the States and raised her family here. And HR, so she was always working with talent and motivating people, and she has a lot of knowledge. A very spiritual person too.
Well, I only know her from, because she's on my lecture group.
St. Mary, yeah.
in St. Mary's.
Yeah.
I don't know the other side of her.
She
Oh,
does that
she's-
once a month?
She does it once a month in 9 AM, and she picks the topics. She's brought in different people to kind of guest with her, but, so far so good on that. That's been a new thing.
It's a new thing.
Cancer support we're starting in this
yeah.
cycle. With Janet Travers, who's a hospice, longtime hospice nurse.
Oh,
Retired now.
Mhm.
Or she
Well,
did retire.
that'll be great.
I think so.
because-
She did retire?
She did retire, yes.
So Bob we keep maxing out that room, and he likes that room, so we can't move him from that room. So he got up to 30 in both groups. I think that's as much as can be
As much as he
can do. Memory training has a cycle right now, and the one area, tech classes with Katie, we're not getting as much interest in that to hold the numbers, so we do find we have to put it out there, see how it goes, flyer it, put it in the newsletter, do different things, but then, we've had to cancel, so we're trying to figure out, is it the price point? Is it that everybody's been through their beginner stuff and they need higher level,
I think they need intermediate. I
intermediate?
mentioned that to her,
Okay.
yeah, I think the
And we don't
intermediate,
know.
because once you go to a class, and she does them in different places, in the library and stuff, when you get into a class, they're downloading the stock, it is, they are not beginners, so it's kind of a waste
Okay,
of her working, preparing the class.
I see.
I just mentioned it to her about the intermediate.
But then it gets very personal about who needs
Right.
what or wants what, so it's been a little hard
Right.
to pinpoint the need.
And
There's
she
multiple
does
levels.
do it free other places.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed, yeah.
And, everyone knows that, so.
I mean, I tried it once free and we could subsidize it, it's not free. We would pay for it out of the formula grant, that's all we have.
I'd be curious if more people
If it
should-
made a
If you
difference.
did intermediate and you did it free.
I mean, we
Curious.
did do the lecture, and it was not technical with John, I think, we did it last summer,
He was
and it
free.
was free,
Mhm.
and we did have
The
25
phone, the
people
phone,
sign up.
yeah.
It was about the phone. I don't think it was as effective for people, because it wasn't actually hands-on.
Well, the other thing that you could do is instead of her, I mean, I don't know how she does it. I mean, if it's people coming and just saying what they need, but maybe,
No, it
No.
isn't like that.
oh, it isn't like that. Does she pick specific topics like?
She does, but she doesn't kind of stick to it.
She tries, and then there might be a
Yeah.
question.
And then it
And
goes
then she's polite,
different
and
directions.
some of these people that dominate, and
Yeah.
she can't get away from them.
That is what I'm afraid of.
You know?
And it's short,
She's
it's
too
only an hour and a
polite.
half, so that takes up time.
But if you had a larger room, like if you had more people in the room, there would be less ability to dominate.
Yes.
If you only have 2 or 3 people in the room.
Well, the other thing she could do also, if she had enough people, is she could divide it up into people that really are at the very beginning and people, and then she could float to
Yeah.
each group.
Or she could describe
But
what intermediate was.
Right.
So do you want to know how to do X,
Yeah.
Y, Z? Do you want to know how to do A, B, C?
And she's very good. and
Yeah, no, I
very
No, but I mean, in the
she has
description,
great
I mean,
so that people would come saying, oh yeah, I do need that, like, lower.
But if people would just listen and follow, her presentation would be very informational, but it has to be what they want. It's broad.
Raise a page on my Facebook.
Yes,
I went to one that she had at intermediate at Cohasset at night, and it was at night, it was a determined class that would be there for a reason, after work or whatever. She really stuck to the, what she had to say. I think people get her off the track,
I do.
That's
Sure.
more
you know? And-
What is the actual stuff, is it Word, is it?
Oh, no,
What is
it's,
it?
She describes it as an introduction, but it isn't. All those
To
people.
what though?
iPad.
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 Or mobile device, or,
Oh.
No, it's strictly iPad.
Is it?
She does, yeah. And,
I-
so, everyone has had an iPad.
Not necessarily, because that.
No,
was
in
the
the
other-
group, every,
In the
no,
group.
I've been enough of first. They've all had it, they're not showing up, not knowing how to turn it on or anything. Well, you don't spend $1,200 and not have some gist of it, you know? And, it's just, I think more she did, like, stressed it, that it was intermediate. I think should get more of a determined crowd, because that night, it was full.
Yeah, we might have also, we've talked about with Katie, and I've talked with her, and she said, you may have like gone through your beginners at this point, and so she keeps offering that. It's nice to offer it in January when people might be getting their new iPads, but as you go throughout the year, yeah, it might be that the people have already done that, so they want the next level. Other things would be, men's game nights seem to be taking off, and it's been helpful to have Dan Hannigan and Gordon kind of facilitate that as volunteers. It brings in new people, new men, new people. And they've been using Scituate monthly to advertise too, which I think helps. Richardson Gaffey used Scituate monthly too to advertise lunch and learns in addition to Facebook, and so I think that helped, like new people.
yeah.
Then there are just a couple other games that are popular. Social event, our main one for February was the Valentine's Day that Bridges Epic sponsored. We've been trying to lean on some of the, like the Allerton House or Bridges, because they come with budgets, and then they can kind of say, oh, we can put this on for you if they have their audience. So that's been a nice way to use them.
That's great.
Yeah. And then back, volunteer business. We increased a little bit. We've been using the business students at Scituate High School to help with the flyers. But not only is it the flyers, they give me the JPEG file, so then I can just plug that right into our social media, our Facebook.
Wow.
So it's like as soon as I get the flyer, it can become a flyer, and then now I can schedule out the Facebook. So you essentially you take a newsletter, you give it to them, you ask for everything to become a flyer, and then you can ask everything to be a JPEG that then you can schedule on Facebook.
The senior center Facebook page?
Mm-hmm. And then the men's nights I mentioned, so Gordon and Dan would kind of be some new volunteers for that. We recruited a new dishwasher. We got a good response from that ad that we put in, so we got a few different people to help us, and some backups. The launch program, I just wanted to mention them because they've been the stable, helpful, come in at 10 o'clock every day with 4 or 5 or 6 people from the launch program. They set that up, they do it very well, they know their system, they go up, they clean all the tables and chairs, they leave. They're probably here for about an hour or so. They know their thing, they don't try to, they don't need a lot of attention, but sometimes they don't think they get the fanfare either, I think they're doing a really good job, so. So I want to try to think of some way to appreciate them as volunteers, even though they're considered workers, it's their job. But
Where are they based out of, Jess?
they are in Hingham?
What is?
There's a couple of different
acronym for
offices.
something? Does that stand for?
It literally, sorry to interrupt, but I mean, it really grew out of the high school program, because the man who did start it had been a teacher in that program at the high school. And then for the, as they grew out of that, they no longer had services, right? So they reach a certain age and they're out. So then he started this company. So they have an office or they did in Cohasset, maybe it turned into Hingham. So there's been a couple, and Kevin, who originated it, is not working there now, but they've had others. So it's a great program. It's a little bit like, what's the one in Marshfield? There's another one where it's work skills, is really what they're hoping to provide.
And Susan and Joe Swindler, one of our local van drivers, has been very helpful, giving me some assistance with trip planning and trip implementation. So I think we're getting, for our 2024 trips, I think you'll notice there'll be more trips. There'll also be different types of trips, whether you go on the small vans and it's something more local, or in April, they're gonna go Art and Bloom at MFA, which was very helpful in implementing. And
And
then
people signed up right away, it's only been a week.
it's full.
It's full.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. We have our
Because you could only take
enthusiasts,
15,
we do.
right?
In the van, yeah.
Yeah.
And then with
We're
Hull,
So
working
a whole
on
brief
the
group
big,
wanted to go.
the big bus thing.
and then Hull, Hingham, and I now are the COAs that are working together. It's just switched a little bit from Norwell and Cohasset are taking, no pun intended, but a back seat. They'll be there if we need to help like fill the vans, but they just didn't, their bandwidth, I don't think they had enough to say that they could keep doing all the big bus trips. But Hull and Hingham were ready to go, and I think they've been great partners. Maura from Hull and Keith, who's new as my position in Hingham. And they've been great to work with.
Good.
So a lot of the February and what we're looking forward to are kind of things that I may have also mentioned. So you could kind of look through that. I think the Valentine's Day trips, tax season, tech classes. Oh, Linda's Tai Chi is back, and
Back.
we got a request for that when it was gone, and so it's back, and I think people are happy with that. The luncheon today was wonderful. I think it's, for me, it's bigger than, the only thing bigger than that, I think, is a volunteer appreciation. Or it's like, now it's about the same size, and then you have your Thanksgiving and Christmas, but somehow St. Patrick's Day, especially around here, it just becomes
Yeah.
this like week-long thing.
Celebration.
Yeah. And so we have the parade coming up, we have, we're gonna have a presenter on opening day of baseball. We're working with Nancy Warner, the chair of the bike committee, who wants to see, we've gotten a little interest in that, seeing if people want to learn about bike safety, bike demonstrations, and safe biking for seniors around Scituate, or like guided tours. She could do historical tours, or they could do garden tours, or
Sounds like fun.
Well, the historic tours was actually an idea that Russ had a few years ago, too bad he's not here. So,
Do you have to have a bicycle?
for two maybe, go for two. We could-
well, one of the ideas was a demo day with these companies, so you could see the different bikes, you could show them the e-bikes, the electric bikes that people have, as well as the bike. But it's around the idea that the town now has an official committee, the bike committee, that's trying to say, we have more bikers in Scituate, so can we put a little more effort into like
Bike lanes.
bike lanes and bike
Yeah.
safety in
Yep.
Scituate?
Yep, yep.
Um,
Pretty tough, but.
So that, I don't know if anybody has any other questions, but that's, I mean, my big takeaway is that we're blooming, we're growing. It's bustling, yeah, it's like, it's not slowing down. I actually had to stop because there was no more room. I could have kept going, but.
Well,
You
does a
are
great
doing
job, and she
fantastic
is
Yeah.
juggling a lot and hearing from new people and still managing the old people, and it's a big job, as you know, it's two jobs in one.
Yeah, and the volunteers are, I mean, very dedicated, and they're not, if that portion of my job was always revolving, it would make everything a lot harder, but they're pretty like
Yeah.
steady group, like this is our job, we're here every week. You know, I mean, people let me know ahead of time if they have commitments. I mean, occasionally people are sick, but it's just,
I'm just
very steady.
Is the first Friday foot care, is that the same as the reflexology, is that something
No.
different?
This is, yeah, this is different. This is, she does leg assessments, and then foot assessments, and then she works with like calluses and hard nail clippings, and what else?
It's more medical.
Yeah, it's more medical.
She is an.
She's an MP.
Oh, okay.
Well,
The volunteer appreciation luncheon, is that June 14th, is that a?
That's tentative. I wanted to run that date by the board, because we typically do it in,
May?
that week.
no, middle June. Yeah, middle of June, and then, we've done it on Thursdays. This year, we were thinking of a bit later time, like a 4:35, something afternoon, on a Friday when Fred would be with us and be willing to, help, as well as Amy. Maybe even get Fred for some entertainment.
Oh, wow, that would be fun.
Didn't really respond.
I know, he
You
has
can't do both.
yeah,
Right.
he has his own things coming up, so, but he seemed okay with that middle June time.
And
So should
on-
we like pencil it in on our calendar?
You certainly could.
Yeah.
We were hoping maybe, again, if it was a later in the day, and maybe we could use the patio, and maybe we could put in a request for a beer and wine permit, so, that would be nice, I'm not sure how that would work at this point, so.
And did he get mad at singing Irish songs today? Or
Yes.
yesterday?
Yes, that he was our
Today.
entertainment.
Oh, it
He
was
was-
today?
Yeah.
Oh, because my sister told me, she goes, he had a really great guy.
Oh, she was here,
She
yeah.
doesn't know
I
it.
think he's a priest.
deacon. I think his name's Henry.
Oh my, his last name is Henry,
Yes, I know.
so, yes.
Yeah, thanks for, I forgot to mention, yeah, thanks for letting me know about that. So, we'll have more on that, but it's starting to form. So,
Awesome.
Well, very nice.
yeah, thank
Keep them
you.
busy
Great
Yeah,
job.
and bringing in new people. That's awesome. Anybody have any
know.
questions or
Oh, he needs some of
comments
that,
on this?
you know the man that does the classical piano?
Mhm, Archie,
Is he coming one more time? you
he
said?
is, he's coming in April 23rd. So when I do this report, I always get a little confused because I try to stick pretty much to what happened in February
Oh,
to
okay.
report, and then I try to mention what's gonna happen in March.
Okay,
And
so we'll wait on that.
yeah, so, but no, there are some things like the volunteer appreciation, Linda was gonna mention the May event, everything. Like, there are things that we definitely wanna think ahead on, but he is, in April, end of April, 23rd, and it's his swan song.
Well,
Classical.
yeah, what did that, I saw that.
Yeah, he'll come back for sing-alongs and he'll come back for, yeah, other things, but it's the way you have to hold your hands when you do classical, he can't do that anymore, so he wants to do one more.
That's so sad, 'cause
Oh.
he, who's this?
Archie Richards,
Is he the guy from the North Shore?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wondered when I saw that swan song, I thought, you know.
Okay.
Oh, well,
he called it his swan song, so he said, you can say that, but he will come.
I wondered, I just wondered.
Oh, no, he said he'll come back for sing-alongs
Oh,
and,
that's-
yeah.
Yeah.
I like Julie.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Jess? She might be heading out here.
Yeah, Gracie's downstairs.
Okay.
Right.
All
Was that
right.
impressive,
Thank
Jess?
you.
Thanks.
Nice to see
For all you
everyone.
do.
Okay.
Thank you for all
All right,
you
bye,
do.
see you tomorrow.
Okay.
And now we'll go back to the top of the agenda
Mhm.
and hand it over to.
Okay, well, just does a thorough job in her report, so it's often a lot that I then don't have to mention. Other than I have been doing Tai Chi, and you know, it does seem like that, geez, it's not a big deal, it's just an hour once a week. But it is more than that, because you really do have to prepare, and then it's, you know, a little bit before and a little bit after, and it just does end up being
Take your morning.
a big part of my day
Right.
on that day. But I am happy that we've got 10 to 15 people interested, and the tricky thing is with this program is, it's a little bit hard to have new people starting all the time, but the real truth of it is that you're always reviewing a bit, and it's just only about the safety for people learning to stand on one foot and walk and or step so that they're comfortable with that and balance. Otherwise, I don't want to turn anyone away, as we've said with other. So it's a 24-week program, it's gonna take me through August, or into August at least, so we'll see if maybe we do that once a year, take a little break, and then keep it up, because it's great. So if anybody is interested, now it's okay, April's okay, and you get something out of it. As I mentioned, we did get 100 new people registered. It depends on how you ask for the report, so one of the reports said 136 actually, but I think 100 was more accurate.
Hey, Russ.
And I did break it down, like I said, because the assumption is, oh gosh, we have so many people coming in for taxes, but it really wasn't just that. But people coming in for taxes who also wanted to register, that is true. We don't make everybody if they don't want to,
Right.
they don't have to, in and out. But anyway, so I was impressed with the number of people that really did come in to take a program or two, or use outreach, or come to lunch, a lot out of that 100. So that was great. We did also accept a student from Bridgewater State University in the social work department, so she had to do 45 service hours for her coursework. So Kelly and I met her on Zoom first, and she was lovely, and so why not? Certainly could use the help. So she did start already. She spent one day with the social day program. She spent one morning on the van for the transportation run to the supermarket. And then we get her next week again. So we'll just try to vary some of the things we do with her, and I think it's great. I would do it
Maybe
again.
she basically 2 days a week? Or
Could be, yes.
For how
She's
long?
not sure. Through April. So that's nice, and, yep, if I get a chance to do it again, I think I would. Our exhibit currently in the hallways, stayed through March, which has been nice, Serena Green's family artwork. But our high school students are coming in the end of March for the month of April. And that will be upstairs for the most part. We do have, Bruce Marshman has a nice exhibit at the end of the hallway upstairs, which we've just kind of placed because we have the opening day, her Crehan coming to talk about baseball, and Bruce that has historically just always put together these collections of baseball cards of players involved in championships each year and players that were well known. I mean, they're very categorized and great. So those are up down there for people who are interested for now, and also would be part of that day, the end of the month. That's March 28th, I think.
If anybody's a Red Sox fan, Herb knows his Red Sox.
He does, and then some, and I can't make any promises, I don't know if he'd be listening, but I think either Jess was trying to reach out, we could certainly do it a couple of different ways without twisting his arm, but maybe Jim on board would come and say hi, that would be nice, so he knows Herb too, or Herb knows him. I did want to announce, I guess, it wasn't quite official at our last meeting, but Lucille Sorrentino, whom many of you know from her time on the board, or she's been president of Rotary, and she's been involved in many things. She is now our social day program coordinator.
She'll be great.
So she is great, she is now official and has been in there for a couple of weeks. Kelly, she sat in with Kelly for a couple of times, maybe a week and a half, and then now she's on her own. Not that she really needed that, it was just to adapt and see what the program was, and everybody makes it their own. So very excited for that. Shay was in there. Shay is the intern from the college, and so she was good to have because she could do some of the technology. So even when you know how to use things, they just never quite go the way you expect. So needless to say, when you're trying to go from activity to activity in a short amount of time, that's the only thing.
I'll
So-
make a note, Lucille spells with 2 L's.
And I know that, so that was my mistake, I know that, yeah. Sorry about
Is
that.
it, is she a full-time employee?
No, the program's always
Mondays and
been
Wednesdays.
15 hours a week, give or take, but 2 days, and then prep time, so it is self-funded, more or less, by the
Per fee.
cost of the program
per
coming
day,
in
yeah.
is really all that. And we have a little budget with some donation funding that we have if we need that too. And then we have slowly added to the group over the last month or so because we had some openings and we're interviewing ourselves for the first time. And so we should be complete again with 8 on each day, but have put in some on one day but not the other, so we've increased the number of participants by April, so we have another person starting in April. So, and there still might be other changes, but we do still have a wait list and we will continue to feed into that.
So is there, just on that, I know when, you know, backing up before, there was some talk about, you know, adding a Friday.
Mhm.
So is that
There was
still-
some talk about it, I think right now, only because we want to get the 2 days so that they're sufficient. And, you know, people aren't, we have a wait list, but
Not enough to,
I don't know if we want to take that on yet. And honestly, then all of a sudden we put a couple things in this room on a Friday, so sometimes it's the space.
you know,
But we would still talk about it, it's just
you know,
exactly
I was
when,
just,
I don't know.
now that
Sep-
you have
Not before
somebody,
September, I would say,
you know,
if we were to do that.
And you're still maxing out at about
Maybe.
8 people, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
which is good,
Which is-
that's a good number.
Yeah.
All right, so accreditation now, I would like to plan this event. And so we are targeting May for a celebration for our receiving the accreditation status and also to celebrate our 3-year anniversary in May. So I don't know, I've sort of considered what we would do or might do. I don't know if we do a whole lunch, but we could do a Friday, either May 8th or the next Friday is May 17th. And have light refreshments or, you know, something like that if you all, and hopefully it will be a nice enough day to, again, sort of be outside as well as in the big room. But I could also do an afternoon, I would stay away from a full-fledged lunch, I think, but just to make it some sort of celebration. And kinda need to get on it to invite politicians and invite actually people, or at least the executive director, maybe another person from Mass Council on Aging might come. I would think the politicians I'd want.
And South Shoulder Services?
Sure, yeah, no reason not to, it's not.
Just, this is again just minor, it's, the date is actually May 10th,
Is it?
is a Friday. Yeah, because May 8th is,
I
because
certainly
I was just
thought I
gonna
looked
mark
at
my
that.
calendar. May 8th
Maybe I was
is a
looking at
Wednesday.
March, getting
I've
my
done that
ends mixed
too.
up.
Begins with an M.
Really, did I do that? Oh, all right, 10th to the 17th, right, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, May 10th.
Or May 17th, you know, or anywhere in between, but I guess a little consensus, or anybody, you know, have an
Well, the
opinion, I'm
only,
not.
one thing, and this may have
Yeah.
nothing to do with it at all, but I would just mention it, because we do get a lot of people from out of town,
Mhm.
you know, from other communities, and I read in the Coastal Mariner that Hingham is having this big open party, and everyone is invited because they
Oh, they're
did the
changing their name.
renaming.
Yeah.
Did you see the article, because they quoted you?
Oh, I know about, yes, I guess I did see that.
Yeah, so it hit
Oh,
the
right.
newsstands, yeah,
Right.
well, I got mine yesterday, but it's, so they renamed their senior center,
Yes, Center for Active
and,
Living.
and they're having a big party in May, so
Okay,
I,
I'll check that date.
yeah, check the date, because I'm just thinking, we wouldn't wanna have it on the same day that they're having.
Well, I
it.
wouldn't, because we'd be inviting our politician or politicians.
Exactly, and those politicians are gonna be at that party, they announced it in the article.
Well, it's much, that's
But
much
Fridays
to
are
do for a
probably
name change.
preferable day, schedule-wise,
I
yeah.
think so, do you all, I mean, do you think it sounds like, you know, it's kind of a nice day to do it? It is the quieter day here, especially as we get into the afternoon.
Yep.
I think that's what I do, so I'll check theirs and I won't do it the same day.
Yeah, that would be good.
That
Maybe
is nice
Fred
you
could
mentioned
come,
that,
you
'cause,
know, Fred would
yeah.
be off on that day, so he could.
Well, he's going out for knee replacement
Oh,
surgery, so
yeah.
he's going to be out from mid-April to whatever it takes, you know, is it 4 weeks,
But
6
you can
weeks?
model
We'll see.
it.
But
Who's
it's
doing that?
Fred,
Fred.
yeah. And so we are very lucky at this point that we love Amy, and she is
Capable
not
of,
just an assistant, you know, chef. So she will be able to handle things.
that's
And
great.
once Fred is able, he'll do his ordering, he can do stuff from home, he can still work, if not stand in the kitchen cooking. So that is great.
Maybe
Yeah.
send an email blast to everybody that was worked on it, make sure they're invited,
Yes.
personally invited.
Yes, there will be invitations, so. we will do
Including the woman that came from Ohio.
that.
She
From
may-
Chicago.
Chicago, wherever.
Well, I will
Who
let her
knows?
know.
It would be nice to just invite her, who
Invite her.
knows, if she has family up
Sure.
here, maybe she, you never know.
So what's Hingham renaming there?
They're naming
The name of
it,
the Center for Active Living, which is the exact same name as Plymouth, and not coincidentally, Jennifer was the director in Plymouth, and that's when they
Right.
did that.
there's a whole
so-
article on it in the,
And I will say, so you read my whatever,
I
she,
did.
Where is it?
I mean, she asked me
What?
questions
Where is
about
it?
it,
It's in the Coastal Mariner,
Oh, okay.
the article is in the Coastal Mariner.
but it was originally in the Ledger, so.
Right, I
Sue
read it in
Shad-
the Ledger first, and then they put it, but it's like front page on the Coastal
Yeah, it
Mariner.
sounds like that.
Sue Scheibel has been very
An
good.
assisted day program,
Yeah, to me that would sound ambiguous.
yeah.
Center
I'm
for
sorry.
Active
It sounds like
Living,
an
that could be
assisted
any
day
age
program.
group.
Assisted living
Well, I
program.
mean, everybody's got an opinion, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, they didn't ask mine.
Some love it, well, this
So
is
have
different,
they
but,
changed the building?
hmm,
They
Have they
would.
changed the building?
No,
that's still pending. They don't know whether they will stay there and take over space that the police department is vacating, because they've always had the police department there as well,
Right.
town hall, or if they might go to another building, but, which I think they have some option of where Bear Cove Park is.
Who cares what you call it, it's still not
well,
a
that's
great
basically
museum.
what it does say.
What I said, if, you know, I didn't wanna go out on I mean, it was true, all of it was true, because it did come up with us, we did talk about it, I
Yeah.
did bring it up at board meetings, I did ask what people's thoughts were. We did have a focus group, I believe, and discuss it.
Yeah.
And really, almost no one, but very few people thought that there was any need for a name change. Because it is what it is, and I will also say, in our case, this has come up also for other reasons, but people here in Scituate waited for so long, the ones that advocated and wanted a senior center, that it almost diminished a little bit that, oh, well, we're gonna call it something else so that the
Yeah,
younger
right,
people will
yeah.
come. You know, I mean, it really should be a senior center, and nobody seems to care. And in the 3 years we've been open, not one person has ever said, oh, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's
come.
true.
I can't, I'm not gonna come because it's not called what I wanted to.
Right.
Right.
I was just honest about that, but that I said it did come up, it had to, and I'm sure in a few years' time, maybe it will again, but I don't know that.
I think it's all about the programming.
But then, funny enough, Marshfield,
Academy.
it was their chair of their board of directors said that it was never discussed, ever, like, that's what she said, it never came up,
But the
which
good
is hard to
news is-
believe.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that I do see though, from the time when I first got involved with the 50+ program, is that there was this big move to get rid of council on aging.
Yes.
And that part I do agree with,
Yes.
because most all of them have moved from council on aging
Yes.
to senior center.
Yes.
And just that alone is.
It's much better,
It
it's a
is
senior
much
center,
better,
and
I
council on
mean-
aging was very ambiguous anyway,
You know,
nobody
like,
knows.
what does
it
that
was.
mean? When my parents used to tell me they were going to the Milton Council on Aging, I had no idea
Yeah.
what they were
Well,
going,
So that's true.
what they were
Sounds like
doing.
all
They're going
Except
bald.
they were getting on a bus.
So Sue Scheibel, who is the woman, the reporter for the Patriot Ledger, who does the consistent column, A Good Age, she's been doing that for a long time, but, so I've known her, and she's been very good to us. She did a feature on Fred and the kitchen when we first started the lunch program and all. So she did just do an article just this week, this is her most recent, on Duncan Todd, who was one of our centenarians from last year. She turned 100 in November, and we did celebrate her, but we went to the party. And Joan Powers, nicely enough, because they are both daughters of the American Revolution, so she asked Sue to do it. I did think about it, but I didn't ask her. So, lovely, she's writing her second book or memoirs,
Oh, yes.
living at Life Care.
Yes.
You know, she's
All over.
remarkable, and she was a
Yeah.
lovely person to speak to, as they all have been, of course, but that was a nice article. She also came to the men's breakfast. Ed Kelly was talking about the history of the parade and what goes into the planning of the parade and all. And Sue came to that with her photographer and did an article on that as well. And she calls to just ask, like, do we have anything that we think
Yeah,
would
no,
be
she's
good to
really
put in
good.
the paper?
She puts
So if you have
some
any
notes in
ideas, feel free to, run them
Have you
up
thought-
the flagpole here.
Have you thought at all about having the women of the Scituate Senior Center calendar?
Oh, stop, you're the only one who looked at it.
Well, I'll be honest, when they did the men's, it wasn't like I never thought of it, because it'd been a movie, it was a great idea. But then they did it, and I said, well, then maybe we'll do women some other time.
Well, you
but-
know, I mean, the
yeah.
reason why I bring it up is because they did it at
The
Linden
Linden
Ponds,
Ponds.
and it has turned into
know.
this
A lot of traction.
huge, like, national thing. It's, TV shows have
Yeah.
picked up on it and everything. They have raised
Yeah.
thousands of dollars. They had women at Linden Ponds.
I do know one of the women, yeah,
I'm
it
serious.
is
I'm
funny.
not making
Oh,
it
no,
up.
no, it is very
Look it
true,
up.
it is really true.
You would too.
Oh, but anyway, so I don't know if anybody ever wants to, I think it's a nice idea, I really do, but we don't need that kind of, I don't know, marketing. When the guys did it, when Gordon did that with men, it was really all
Make
about,
some money, yeah.
I hate to say this, we were looking for exposure, right? We were looking for, you know, it was
What a
part of
choice of
the, it was
words.
part of the campaign, part of the marketing. So, it did what, and actually it was funny because the Doc Ellis Band, which was a younger set of guys, four, who perform in this rock band, for lack of a better word, they were in it. I mean, that was nice of them, you know, we kind of tried to spread out the, wasn't just older. Anyway, so I just thought I'd plug that since Susan brought it up, that yes, it was a nice article about the names for the senior centers. I am invited to attend the national conference to receive this award, which is not
Wow.
like a big deal, but I am tempted to go, so it
Go,
is in
yeah.
early May.
I think you should.
We don't have to be there, they've made that clear, but I am invited and they do a thing.
Where
is it?
this time. It's in Virginia,
Oh, fun.
Virginia
Why
Beach.
not? What's wrong with going down?
somewhere in Virginia, I forget where, but, so that would be May 6th and 7th actually, so.
I think you should go. I think it would
Yeah.
give us even more national visibility. Who knows, you could be nominated to be
Yeah, well.
the Director of the Year.
Oh, okay, thank you. But anyway, so that might happen. SCTV, nicely enough, they did come in and did a very brief, you know, maybe minute, but it's still, you know, hard trying to talk extemporaneously. But he asked me a few questions about the accreditation, filmed me, and it's been on Facebook. And I think a lot of people have actually seen it, so
Oh, wow.
that was nice, because I was getting some feedback on it.
Your party was on Facebook today. The Swanee's the
The luncheon.
Oh, Jess took some pictures and she might have posted them
Yeah,
right
quite a
away,
few of
yes. Oh, very nice, yeah, that is nice, and people do see them.
Yep,
And again, so Friday, June 14th is what we are considering, but probably we'll plan for the volunteer appreciation celebration. That sounds fun. We received a quote from the new electrician for the town, and I do believe we will be able to do that. It is actually less than the original one, but they are or have closed out the project.
We've closed it out.
So, that was already approved, so we do believe that will get paid out, but, everything else is closed now, which is good, we didn't, we didn't use all the money.
We came in under budget.
St. Patrick's Day this Sunday, of course, the building will be used by the parade participants, so all of the bands and acts in the parade are here for coffee and donuts, for the morning. It's always been great, since we've been here, of course, and even before, it can be really cold, and they're waiting a long time when they line up. But let's hope it's a nice day. Joe Swindler has agreed he's driving the van for us, and we have the Brown Brothers right in front of our van, which we will pay them for that, so it's nice proximity, nice for them. And I did order, like I said, some signs. I did magnets for the side of the van that have the national accreditation
Oh,
logo, because we already have the senior center logo on the van, so we'll just attach those to one on each side.
Right.
And then I have another, it's a little busy, but she's gonna make this work, so that this will be both a sign that I think we can affix to the front of the van, and then also could be a banner if we decide we can carry it or put that somewhere, or otherwise we'll use it in May. So this is our logo with the tagline, with the accreditation logo, and also just an announcement, come celebrate our national accreditation and the 3-year anniversary of our new senior center this May. So that's what I put on. I decided I didn't want to print and give out any sort of postcards because I was just afraid most of them would end up on the ground. And we don't want to add to that.
True.
So that's why I did the signs last minute. So, very big news, but I did receive notice from the finance director that I was approved, our budget was approved for an assistant director.
That is
Wow.
And I have a report to read from Karen Canfield, because she couldn't be here, and she talks about it as well. And honestly, it was a very nice gesture on their part that we really were the only ones that were approved for a position.
Wow.
Well, I think
Budget is tight.
And they recognize and are appreciative, really, and
I think it
acknowledge
really
the
shows
hard
they
work.
are appreciative.
It's super.
and recognize that it's a real need.
And
Right, exactly.
so, well, even though I did have to submit a job description for the budget, we'll go through it now, and there may be some thoughts on what attributes might be helpful to have that, might have been other things we were looking for, just saying, if we can get it all in one package, we'll see. But it is, initially, at least now, it's a full-time
So it
position.
would be effective as of July
July
1.
1, yeah.
So theoretically,
Oh, we could be looking
looking right now.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I will gear up for that, but that is just wonderful. And so we're considering, again, alternatives and other ways, maybe if we do still need, whether we're talking about the social work support or marketing media support. We've been getting some other help, different ways, and again, even with the formula grant, maybe we can just purchase services in different ways. So I'm happy, confident. Stephanie and Kelly participated last weekend in the Accessibility Awareness Fair on March 9th, which was nice of them, and they actually enjoyed it. And I think that has gained traction since they started that, and everybody's happy to be there and be providing that information to the population of disabled, of all ages really, but just to provide resources with a targeted audience is very nice.
They actually promoted it like on the
I saw
board
that.
outside of the transfer station,
I saw that too.
flashing board.
And no update on getting our new van, which is becoming a bit of a handicap for us, so I am poised to go back to them because they did tell me that in May they were getting new inventory. So now I know that, and I'm hoping that that will be at least when they can provide us with something, either short-term or long-term. Because we do need it, or we'll have to buy one. So that is my report, but you'll,
Are we
Yep.
getting too dark in here? Should we,
Yes.
should pop on the light?
Russ, do you want to pop up?
Oh, well, sure.
Sorry, I didn't even think of that, because it was so bright
Supposed
earlier.
to be looking for the
Yeah.
next page.
I mean, now that the sun's not blasting us.
And, well, you, when do you think, well, I guess I can.
Wow.
Okay.
Very nice. Oh, that probably helped for the
That's-
construction too.
That's too much.
So,
That's good.
well, there's only,
No,
No,
I
only,
think
that
we
doesn't do
No,
any good at
but
all.
we're on
It's the
TV,
other
we
way.
gotta have light. Yeah, leave it there.
Yeah, it's fine.
Better.
Is this where we were gonna put the dimmer?
well, no, but it would also, maybe we need them in all the rooms. No, the dimmer was for the downstairs big room, but
Yeah.
also the fitness room, because they can be in pitch dark, now that sometimes we'll have a class later in the day, especially in the winter.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, they can't do it, and otherwise it's crazy. So Kelly did a new report format for you, which I think is nice, but I'll try to explain it a little bit, the Outreach Monthly Report. She initially has previous initiatives, things that she is continuing or have always been part of Outreach, current initiatives for her in the middle, and then future initiatives that are being talked about, considered, or we're planning. So she is working on the resource guide, which needs updating constantly, really. Fuel assistance, food assistance, naturally. She's doing some trainings and different things to get more information about the job, really, and acquire maybe some additional knowledge or skills that she might need. So she is working both with Erica in some cases, and I have provided her with some things that MCOA. This end-of-life conversation training just came up, so I think it certainly isn't a bad thing to get any training and to be a little bit more knowledgeable about what we might be asked about. And then some of the other initiatives helping out with the health fair. And then I didn't mention it just because it did happen today, or just didn't mention it because it did happen today, but we had invited the fire department to come in, and we thought maybe we'd start a little small, just have them in the cafe for the coffee and community resources, where they just bring some information or talk about, it was emergency preparation and safety in the home, really. So Dave Bortolato, who is the assigned point guard for that, and I now forget, and forgive me, because I don't know if he's lieutenant or captain. But anyway, so we ended up having 8 or 9 or 10 people interested, so we ended up sitting with them for longer than we anticipated. But a program that they are going to do is to go into people's homes one Saturday a month that request it, and really look around for anything, just assess it for safety, whether it is smoke detectors or batteries for this or that, or carbon monoxide, or anything else, or,
Wires all over the place.
right, electricity, anything. So, and then he'll do certain things, or they'll have other people do certain things.
He came to my house to change the batteries and the smoke alarm.
Okay.
He's with the fire department?
He's
Yes.
with the fire department, he's their outreach person.
Yes.
And
He changed
he
your
is
batteries?
He is delightful. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a service they provide. They will
Oh,
come to
I
your
see
house
what
and
you're
change the
saying,
batteries.
Wow.
But as we're walking through the house, he said to me, that drug is a trip hazard. And then he said
Yes,
something else. The staircase is too narrow. It's like, I'm not gonna change the staircase.
Right.
It's like he's hardwired to give you all this.
It's more than the
information.
obvious, and it's a very helpful, it's very helpful.
Would it be useful to us to have him, so we talked before about having some sort of a system in here for, monitoring and making announcements and for emergencies.
Well, yeah, I don't know that would be his
It would be.
forte really, and this is a new building, but that's separate and we
Yep.
should, I haven't moved on that yet. But, he would come back, he told them even, he has another presentation, really even a couple of hours for information that people might need in their home. So that was going to be the progression for, emergency preparations, different things that we didn't really need this year, but between him and also, of course, Mark Donovan, Chief Donovan, they are very happy to have sort of reinvigorated maybe the CERT volunteers, which is an acronym, but they are not really medical necessarily, but gathered to help out in shelters or for other things, really. So they are looking for different ways to use them because it had kind of gone away and they don't want to lose them, they want to use them. So they will be helping out manning this building when we do get called upon to be a warming or cooling center for that matter. For the most part, the last couple of years, it's kind of been up to us. which has been fine. If it's a weekday, it doesn't matter, but if it goes into the evening or it's on a weekend, it's nice to have some backup. So they will be it. So that's
Okay.
nice, and
That's
maybe
nice.
the idea of shelters, overnight shelters is kind of waned. Just saying, maybe we can handle it here, and may not need the other stuff.
Can I just interrupt to back up?
Mhm.
How does Dave identify people to go to?
You
They
call
call.
the fire department and say.
but it's gotta be-
I'd like to have him.
It's gotta be a proactive call
Yeah,
from
right,
the
yeah.
resident to
But how
ask for
did
help.
you,
Or-
I mean, I didn't know that, so how?
So I will say that in the past,
I came across the information being here,
Oh,
that I
Yeah.
heard it from
I
somebody.
mean, that's, I
in the
like
past
what we're
when
doing
it was.
it.
So I'd rather not
here,
get on
and
the
I called
ladder.
him, he was great.
Yeah, I'd rather not get on the ladder.
No, but I'm saying,
Yeah, no.
yeah, I
So we put it
agree,
in,
I
is it in
did.
the newsletter?
Newsletter, yeah.
I will say,
It's
in
my
the past,
grandpa's list. What is he?
I have put it in the
It's really
newsletter,
hot.
because it was an official program
Smoke
that they were
Yeah.
trying to promote. And back when we had the Mariner, we would also put it as part of our thing. So there were ways at one time, now, they haven't really given me that green light,
Yeah.
really, that they're ready, or do it, or this is how they would like to promote it, so I haven't done it.
I see.
But it is something they would always, take the call. Or in the past, I might have had a call, and, it's not for new, maybe you would say, I don't know, there was some criteria.
Okay, I'm just
I'm
curious.
not right now.
How do
They haven't been asked.
people need to self-identify?
And then, currently, we have certain resource categories for outreach, and with Kelly being new, it's always a nice time to sort of try to look at things and see if they're working. I've always felt that when we try to get things into the system, it was very cluttered, and even myself, I might be on a call, but I do want to record this half-hour conversation with someone who is making a request of us, or looking for assistance, or, that's time that nobody knows about, because in the end, we try to put it into the system, and it's just a lot of fields and a lot of choices to go through. So these are the categories basically that she's working with, and that's what we're going to try to build on with subcategories. So for instance, SNAP, well, that's food assistance, but there are other food assistances, so maybe there's a bigger category and then subcategories. Fuel assistance, other types, financial as well, could be many things. Social day program is not, it's interviews, but for Kelly, maybe she's filling in if, Lucille's out, at least she is our backup. Caregiver assistance, obviously, we do get a lot of calls, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. Housing, numerous. Case management, again, that's a little ambiguous, but that could be more specific for some of our things. And Shine, it says 0%, of course, which unlike what a test is nowhere near 0%. There's a lot of Shine, but we just don't include it under outreach because she is a separate program, and so it shows up in Jess's report. So anyway, I think, and then there's a nice little pie chart there to give you some idea on Mass Health. We have had a lot of people coming in with, after having received letters with their plans being canceled and being told that they're now being placed in something else. That seems to be a new pattern. So, immediately kind of have to go to Elaine because we don't really have that information right away. So anyway, so we do get a lot of those calls. So she is learning and fielding, and we are grateful, of course, to Elaine for her management of all of these needs, because they are numerous and run the gamut really from the newcomers at 65 to things just changing that people are accustomed to having. So it's confusing. And then transportation, which again, Kelly's been doing it for Kelly. Stephanie, doing a great job. She was on vacation for that matter, but we could handle it because she left things very orderly in folders, and we just had to walk into the office and figure out which driver was on and which rides were happening. So the numbers, she did February, but I also asked her to keep doing the previous month so you could just get a little comparison. So it is a short month.
Short a month, yeah.
And the week she was gone, we didn't really look for rides, do you know what I mean? We did what we could, but we didn't add a lot if we didn't have to. So February was
Less than January.
a little less, but
Short a month.
actually, canceled was more. Yes, see that? So I don't know, maybe it was the weather. But otherwise, things are going well, and love our drivers. Still doing the supermarket once a week, but I think we will start trying to do the Trader Joe's or Market Basket trip at least a couple of times a month as well. And I think people miss going downtown. So we haven't been doing that since the pandemic really, so I think we could get back to that. Not just Village Market, sometimes it's CVS or just a walk if they can.
Yeah. There's a lot of new stores.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
Are the van drivers volunteers?
the van drivers are not volunteers, although I should be trying to get them a raise, because they are a little underpaid. Which I was trying to put in the budget, but that's not really how to get them more money hourly. I have to go through HR with the schedule for non-union personnel, and there's a whole schedule, so I have to get that raised to do that. Do you want me, or do you want to?
I'm happy to do it, but does anyone have any questions for Linda on the report?
I have, no, use that one because she didn't, she changed it.
Okay,
So that's Karen's.
okay. So, we did get, so Karen Canfield from the Board of Select Board is not able to be here tonight, but she gave us a lengthy email today, which I will just read verbatim. Number one, the Select Board recommended one new position to be added to the proposed fiscal year '25 budget, Assistant Director, Council on Aging. The budget is extremely tight, and there were requests for new positions in many departments in dire need of extra hands, but the town administrator did not recommend any new positions because of budget concerns, and the board felt that the COA role couldn't wait. Linda's leadership in the new building has been outstanding, and because of the success of the programming and services provided, we agreed it was important to support the COA immediately. The budget will be debated and voted on at the April 8th annual town meeting, so that's in a few weeks. And I encourage the entire COA board to attend, as I'm sure there'll be questions on this new position.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Could you speak a little louder?
And I
Sure.
did mean to mention that, sorry to interrupt, that it does need to be approved at town meeting, so yes.
So then
They
it's important for us to know.
So April 8th, annual town meeting. Also at town meeting, the warrant includes several zoning and general bylaw changes for consideration. CPC funding requests, the capital budget, and the capital budget. COA will be aware of the proposed change of use on the tennis courts over here at the Vets Gym to include some pickleball courts. And that's on hold until the Scituate High School tennis court expansion is completed. The whole warrant will be posted on the town website soon, so you can go log on and take a look at it on the town website. Number three, a special town meeting will be held on April 29th to debate and vote on the proposed combined Cushing-Hatherley Elementary School. This project is estimated to cost over $120 million. And if approved, will be partially funded by the state, but that leaves $90 million to be borne here locally.
Can I interrupt one
You
second?
can.
Okay. So, yes, it is obviously important for them, as we can appreciate that they get the word out and at least do either gain support or everyone is knowledgeable. So the superintendent was going to maybe come here and he was trying to maybe get in front of the population here. But instead, there are two public forums, which JD just mentioned, but March 21st and April 2nd is here.
I didn't get there yet.
Oh, you did? No, I thought you passed it. Sorry. April 2nd is here at 6:30 at night. So there's flyers downstairs. They're bringing a poster that we will put out in the lobby so people do know. And again, for informational purposes, not to say we're necessarily supportive of what's happening, but at least we should know.
So there's been some public information sessions, and two more being planned, as Linda just mentioned, March 21st and April 2nd. The override funding required will also be on the May 18th ballot, and both town meeting and the ballot question must pass for approval. All details, again, will be on the town website.
Where is the March 21st meeting?
And I had to ask
She
that
didn't
one.
say.
I'm not sure about that. I'll certainly find
Is
out.
the assistant director position part of the override?
No,
Even the override doesn't go, the
No.
positions?
oh no, yeah, it's gotta be approved with the budget, it's just part of the budget.
Number four, the town, I read this and I had a question about this. The town beach sticker policy has been revised. Stickers are no longer required for beach parking lot use before Labor Day, which would be June, July, August, or after Memorial Day, which would be
No,
June,
no,
July,
That's
August.
definitely a
opposite.
miss.
It's a misprint.
Okay,
Easter
I'm
before,
reading what I'm
before
looking at.
Memorial Day,
Right.
after
that
Labor
makes,
Day.
that makes a lot more sense. Okay.
But it-
Beach stickers no longer required for beach parking lot before Memorial Day or after Labor Day. Out-of-town stickers are limited during the season to Monday through Friday. That makes a lot more sense. The food pantry lease has been extended for 2 years. The lease allows either the town or the pantry to terminate this lease with reasonable notice. Number 6, there will be a public survey soon to ask residents for their input on how best to use the Mordecai Lincoln property in North Scituate. This property was acquired by the town with CPC funds. It is an historic site with 3 buildings and is nearly 5 acres of Gulf River fronted property. Please take the survey if possible. It would be helpful if it were promoted in the Seaway newsletter.
Okay, and I'll look to see if it can be printed out or if it's electronic only for the survey.
Town elections will occur on the May 18th meeting. There are several open, uncontested positions on the ballot. The town clerk has the most current information, and anyone interested in running can ask her for election papers.
Can I just interrupt you for a second? May 18th is the town meeting?
No,
No,
Town
electronic.
elections.
The voting.
Oh, so that's on a Saturday?
I don't have my calendar.
Always, yes.
Always,
yeah.
Just
I
say.
do, I'm sorry.
100 verified signatures are due by 3/29 for anybody who wants to pull papers to
Wants to
run.
run? Yeah.
More information on the website also, and I would also like the board to know that Maura Curran will be stepping down from the select board after 10 years of service and 20 years of service to the town. She was a driving force in getting the senior center built and will be missed.
She was, and she's always been supportive, and when I was first hired, so that's 10 years ago now, she was the chair of the finance committee. So, she's done a lot.
Yep. Number 8, there's a new abatement policy for water usage to address hardship and also unnoticed breaks in an individual's water line. With the new tiered rates designed to discourage misuse of water, especially irrigation, there have been some unintended side effects of folks getting huge bills when a break occurs. Information on the town website or call the water department. And finally, in the fiscal '25 budget, it's recommended that additional funding be in place for the popular abatement program, allowing residents to replace high water volume appliances like toilets with efficient units and receive an abatement. This helps homeowners and reduces water usage very cost effectively.
So they want all of us to get new toilets.
Exactly. So those are some notes from Karen. I probably can't answer any specific questions on that email, but,
If anybody wants a copy of that, I can give you a copy of that. if any of that was-
Yeah, or maybe if it's electronic, you could just send it to us.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea.
and,
With all the dates.
Yeah, it's the
You
dates.
want to be there.
Okay.
so if no one has any other questions, we're on to Foss and Elaine.
Okay, we have an event coming up on April 26th. The title, which could change, is Foss, Past, Present, and Future, a conversation. So it's just to get everybody in place, to ask questions, to us to ask questions of them, to have a conversation on open. We have pastries and coffee and tea, and it's a Friday afternoon,
What was the date again, Elaine?
April 26th.
So Friday. At,
Friday from 1 to 3.
Where is it gonna be?
Here, pardon what?
it's in the newsletter, it's,
Okay.
down, in the dining room.
Okay. And so what's the purpose of the event? I didn't hear you.
Past, present, and future, we want to tell people what FOSS was originally set up to do.
Okay.
And now we have a senior center, so that's no longer in our
Charge.
purpose, mission. So the present is what we're doing right now, and then what we're going to do in the future. How do we want to
So you're looking for input
Yeah.
from the general public?
Yeah,
Are you
not
trying
just
to
for us
recruit new
members.
members as well?
Pardon?
Are you also trying to recruit new members?
That would be great, that would be great, especially if they wanted to be active, because we have like 300 members and 15 active members that are on the board.
Right.
And we have one or two that actually come to the general meetings, other than the board. So we're thinking maybe we need to do something, maybe we need to spice things up a bit and get some input as to what they want from us and what they would be willing to help us with.
Sure.
And how they're going, and how it's gonna impact senior center and Linda and Jess and, well, everybody that works at the senior center, not just Linda and Jess, but, and we have two people from the board that are working with Linda and Jess to determine what's the best way to handle change. So we've got that in place. And then we're looking at other nonprofit organizations throughout the town to see what they do and, you know, how we could maybe replicate, not necessarily duplicate, what they do. Our focus is a lot more narrow than most of the nonprofits, like Community Christmas has got a huge
Well, it's,
presence.
Yeah.
it's supposed to be narrow, it's,
Yep.
Pardon?
oh, nothing. It's supposed to be narrow, I mean, the
It is,
purpose
yeah,
is
yeah.
narrow, it's,
I mean, yeah, we're not supposed to.
you're not a widespread, community Christmas is a widespread.
Right, that's what I was saying, that, you know, we're much smaller and narrower, and that's the way we
More
want to
like
be.
the Friends of the
But we
Library.
could also get hints, suggestions from them, even though they're larger, they might have something that would
Yeah,
work
like, I
well.
mean, like what Pat just said though, I mean, like the Friends of the Library, I mean, when they
Yeah, we're
first
talking
started, it was
with
the
them,
same
too.
exact thing. They were looking to raise money and now they have the library, so what do the Friends of the Scituate Library do, Susan?
Like refresh they got a campaign going, they want to do the young adult room and the children's room, and they'll probably kick into that. They're asking for the public, it's things like that. Guest speakers that come, programming, like Mama Steph, the children's program, there's a few of
Ever
those.
so popular.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So in other words, they still raise
fund it,
money
they count
to
the
fund
passes,
programming.
All the passes to the
Yeah, the
football.
passes.
Museum
As
passes.
simple as
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's basically, yeah.
I did find, I'm sorry, I brought the flyer upstairs for you guys. This is the public forum for,
Cool.
the public school forum. And March 21st is at Cushing Elementary School Library.
That's gonna be an enormous special meeting.
So anyway, if anybody wants to
Yeah.
look, that's all right.
It's a big number.
Just-
Very big number.
Bigger than the senior center.
A lot bigger.
And we've got, and we've got the water,
Problem?
well, water
Treatment plan.
treatment plant for 40 million already on the books, so.
It's a tough
Um,
sell.
Does anybody, Elaine,
No, that's it.
all set?
Unless you have any more questions.
Anybody have any questions for Elaine or Linda?
Does anyone know when these elementary schools were originally opened? Are they all about the same
They're
time?
not all about the same.
Cushing and
Because the
Hathaway.
Hackensack is so much older,
I
and you never see that one.
Yeah.
It's
One
on,
doesn't maintain.
you know?
Which one?
Yeah.
Well,
Wampatuck.
Wampatuck School's in the best
So
condition
old.
of all.
I think it was kept up.
I believe our next meeting will be April 11th,
And I will not.
and Susan will not be here. Do I have a motion to adjourn tonight?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I'm second it.
Thank you, thank you.